Welcome. Today, I'm going to show you a manufacturing view of how Proteus can help your organization with reliability and uptime. Proteus MMX is used throughout the world and supports multiple languages, allowing people from around the world to gain benefit and in multi-facility organizations gather common data to help reliability in a common way. On the login page or sign in, you see service request and tags. The service request field can be used by office personnel or people requiring specific types of help, like a meeting room setup or some type of future work, where they will describe to you what work needs to be done. This is not from the factory floor, but potentially from engineering or quality or somewhere safety, somewhere like that, that doesn't need immediate help. The tags, on the other hand, allow for health, safety, and environment specific tags, operator tags, and then maintenance tags on machines. And each of these different types of tags create different types of work orders and have different data required as part of the input to the system. So a lot of flexibility in the non-user, non-login area. These are people that can interact with maintenance but not be required to sign into the system. When we sign in, we come to a screen that shows us demand work orders versus scheduled work orders. It shows us over here, you'll see overdue work orders versus work orders that are currently being worked on. And additionally, you'll be able to look at it for specific facilities. So for example, if I look at my Eagle corporate offices, whoops, I need to sign in, timed out. If I look at my Eagle corporate offices versus the all facilities, the percentage and number of work orders will change. If I look at my factory as an example, again, scheduled versus break fix types of work orders. Here, again, for all facilities, either 7 days or 15 days, I can look at what's going to occur. So if I look at 15 days out, I see I've got active work orders that are due on specific days into the future. And if I look at those active work orders, I can see specifically what they are. But additionally, if I want to look at what these future work orders are, I can select them. I can export them to Excel based on the job name. And again, we encourage people to come up with quality job names. The difference between job 123 and energy recovery unit preventive maintenance is a big difference, or just a date. So developing a job name is something that's very important. When the technician logs in, they will see their work orders, and within their work orders, you can see that this one is completed by the green check mark, but they are able to edit or view or whatever they need to do. And when they go to edit a work order, of course, they're into the actual work order itself. And if they need to print it or complete it or whatever, they'll be able to do that. So that's the home page. There is a message board. It does allow people to send messages from between each other within the maintenance group if desired. Assets or equipment are the things that need maintenance. And I'm going to focus on my factory here as an example. So I've got a factory complex that's a site. On the site, I have an employee parking lot, I have a truck lot, and I have multiple buildings. I have a production building, I've got an assembly building, a warehouse building, and production building B as well. On the production building A, I've got multiple floors. The main floor includes reception, security, etc. And in my production area, I have multiple production lines or cells. You can call these things whatever you like. Production line 1, if I select it, identifies the pieces of equipment that are in that production line area. Same thing with production line 2 and so forth. Okay. The detail that I keep on this particular piece of equipment includes things like a barcode or QR tag identification, which is different than the equipment number or name. I can include things like cost. I can include the manufacturer. So let's say that this manufacturer was Jamba Bottle Washing. I can keep run times, and I can trigger work orders either off of PLCs on the factory floor. We are Rockwell partners, and we also can interface with Siemens and other factory floor devices, edge devices, etc. I can keep things like installation dates, and I can keep warranty date. I can keep model numbers, and I've got user fields for other information. Eagle does partner with Brady Link 360 to be able to show lockout tagout specific to a particular piece of machinery, and that drawing or lockout tagout capability takes us and prevents the operator from accessing work orders unless they've executed the lockout tagout and confirmed it on a mobile device. You can add an image to the asset so that somebody has difficulty identifying what you're looking for. They can simply go out, select an image from their desktop and add it, and it will show up here as a thumbnail. And again, everything in the system is controlled by rights and roles. So not everybody may be able to add a picture. You can control who can do that through the user's rights and roles. Other information that we keep on an asset, you can look at any open work orders. You can look at the cost history, both year to date and life to date, based on work orders. So that if I have labor hours and material applied to a specific asset, let's try a different asset here. As I close work orders and complete work orders and things like that, it's going to bring me both year to date and life to date cost history. So here's an example. I've got 2 work orders. One had material costs and labor costs associated with it, and both of those are the same year to date and life to date right now because this is a new piece of equipment, my demo system. Next year, it will continue adding to the life to date cost. We can also track from the original cost and the life utilization in months, the expected life, we can tell you when your equipment is going to be due for replacement. We also track statuses. So if you take something in and out of service, send it out for calibration, for example, and bring it back in, it'll show you the dates. The times are also associated with that if it's down to the minutes and seconds. So you know when equipment is in and out of service. You can look at any work order masters that are associated with the particular piece of equipment. If you move a piece of equipment from one production area to another, it will track that information in the asset track transaction. We can identify bills of material associated with it, and regardless of whether you have a bill of material or not. If a part is used on a piece of equipment, we create a parts use summary, which is built on showing the quantity of the part and the date it was used. So again, a lot of information can be related to equipment. We've got clients that put the weight of the piece of equipment, they put the elevation of the equipment, all sorts of information. You can keep the original vendor you bought it from. And again, there's notes that can be put on this. And more importantly, you can put manuals and other things, any type of file that you can read on your desktop, whether it's a JPEG, a Word document, an Excel spreadsheet. All of those things can be added to the asset. You can identify also if you would always like that to be associated with a work order. So by putting an attachment here, anytime you create a work order and identify that this document or this attachment should be associated with a work order, anytime you create it, it will do that. If there are specific tools that you need to manage your equipment and maintain it, calibration tools, specific types of wrenches or whatever, you can add those tools to the asset, and you can also identify default employees that anytime a work order is created, these people would be notified. So a lot about assets. We also can support asset systems. So what is an asset system? Well, an asset system might be a series of pumps and machinery. It could be your production line is identified as an asset system, okay? And in doing so, you can write a work order specifically against an asset system, okay? There's a way you can also take the entire production line or asset system out of service, and that stops all maintenance on all the components of the asset system. We also have ways of charging costs to the components of the asset system when you maintain it. So there's a lot of simplicity yet complexity that we can drive around this particular feature and capabilities. We had those tags and those service requests. They all come in here. You can identify the different types of requests. We have clients that use this for IT service as a help desk, as well as the manufacturing area. So again, the service request capability has a lot of different types of flexibility. The heart of the system obviously is work orders, and work orders in the system can be identified by their specific locations. So again, if I go to my factory, I have 35 work orders. This particular icon says I had a failed inspection on this particular piece of equipment. So I can look at the detail of this work order and find out what's happening. I also can see that I have some attachments here, and these may be pictures from the technician showing me why the inspection failed, as an example. Work order numbers are created in year, month, and day sequence, and then the system, if they are preventive maintenance, as identified here, the system will automatically generate these based on the schedule that you've set. If they're demand maintenance, it will increment as you add a new demand maintenance work order each day. So at the end of a day, or for example, here on the 22nd of December, I have 4 work orders that have been created. Number 2 must have been closed already because it's not showing here. Okay, so these are open work orders. With a work order, I can create a new one, I can edit, I can view, I can print it, I can export to Excel, I can email, I can complete and close a work order, I can cancel if I have, again, everything is driven on authority, roles and rights, or I can look for a specific employee's work orders in my factory and select one, and I can reassign either all of them or this one to somebody else. Okay. I can update the location hierarchy. If I in fact want to move this piece of equipment, I can select it and it will update for me the location hierarchy in this particular piece of equipment. I can select all work orders on a page, or I can clear that. I can select all work orders, so if I have multiple pages of work orders, I could select all and I can clear those. I have filters. So if I want to find something and I'm searching, and let me go and have a lot of work orders here. So I want to find something that, a job that's related to air handling units. Okay. So now I can't see the rest of this. So what do I do? Well, I can come over here to the column setting page and I can come over here to the column width setting and I can make the description larger. So now I can see, well, that's why it found it. These filters are default to contains, but I also can do begins with, ends with, equals, or does not contain, okay? So I filtered on contains, but let's say here, I want to find something with 09 or 99 as part of the job number. There it is, okay? I can filter on multiple fields. I may have filtered on a field over here that looking for 99. And of course it keeps the same record because it has 99 in that record in both places. But now let's say I clear this filter here and I can't figure out why I can't see the rest of my records. Well, this is a clear filter. That filter is off the screen, so it clears it and brings back all my work orders. Some of the new features in the system are the ability, if I don't want to see completed work orders or I don't want to see that there's check marks on attachments on a particular work order, I can come here into the grid column setting and take that work order attachment off my view and save this. And now I no longer have that column. It moves everything over to the left and I can just see the completed and the failed inspections. If I want to move them back, I have the ability to do that. Again, based on roles and rights, I'm going to move both of these back, save it. And now I have 4 columns here of different types of edits. So if I want to see all of my completed work orders but not closed, I can look at this check mark and it tells me I've got 17 work orders that are completed but not closed. Each of these filters are independent. So if I want to see just the printed work orders, now it'll show me just the completed with printed and so forth. If I want to clear these filters, I select the filter, select the broom, it sweeps away the filter and brings everything back. And there's also one other filter here, and that's for the not printed or the not completed or the ones that have not failed inspections or the ones that don't have attachments. So if I select that filter as an example, it's going to bring me all of the work orders that do not have attachments. So again, sweep away the filter and it will bring everything back to you. I can look at specific employee work orders. So as I look at different employees, I see a different number of work orders that are open. I can do the same thing for contractors. I can sort my entire system by any field, including user fields if I'm using them, and I can sort ascending to descending. I can also filter records based on demand maintenance or preventive maintenance. I have questions, again, using mobile, I can find work orders that have risk questions associated with them. Risk questions are questions a technician must answer yes to prior to getting access to the work order on a mobile device. Things like, am I wearing arc flash clothing, and am I qualified to work in confined space, as an example. I can look for inspections or failed inspections. I can look at corrective demand maintenance work orders. I can look at critical asset-based work orders, and I can look at work orders based on call records. What's a call record? Well, some clients have the need or have a help desk type of situation where somebody will call in to report a machine down. So we have the ability to put in who called, what's their phone number, what's their email, what date, the date automatically comes into the calendar, who recorded it, this is who I'm logged in as, and then identify where the problem is. Is it it's in my factory, and it's on the production in the production building A. I can put in a description of the problem. Line 2, machine is down. Okay. Again, not everybody will use this feature, but it's one that is very important to a lot of clients. So I save this. And now I've decided that I want to turn this into a work order. I can create a work order. It brings all the information that I've typed over here. I can add things like a cost center. I can put in a work started date. We need to start it today. I can put in a maintenance code. I can put in a shift that I'm going to work on this. The work order status, I'm not going to put in, but I can put a work type. This is a engineering issue. It can be changed by the technician later on. You notice the requester, he called. His phone number, the request date is all here. So I may have some additional required fields. People will get used to that. In this case, I need a supervisor to be assigned. Save that. And now I've created a work order. I can add a task and labor to this. So this is a breakdown. So we create a 000 task. It's a break fix. I can assign an employee to work on this. So I'm going to do Chris Miller and save that. And if Chris needs any parts, he'll be able to add parts. If he needs any special tools, Chris is eventually going to be able to add the root cause failure reason. And in the work order, we do have the ability to put the 5 whys and actually work down through this system to the 5 whys to root cause failure reasons. Other clients use simplistic root cause failure reasons like no maintenance or electrical surge, and sometimes it's unknown. And again, the technician can complete that as they're completing the work order. So once we've completed a work order from the call log, one of the things that happens is that it tells me that there's an open work order, and it will record how many days, hours, and minutes this particular work order has been open. Again, a lot of clients don't have that feature, don't want to use it, and the beauty of Proteus MMX is the simplicity in that you don't have to use all these features. You can also filter the call log by open call log records, closed call log records, or completed call log records. So when I complete this work order and close it, I'll be able to still keep the call log and not have to worry about it. And of course, I can export this call log to Excel or do whatever I need to do with it. Work order masters are where you set up your system, you identify the job. This is a monthly boiler inspection. It can be any piece of equipment, but basically we identify the piece of equipment here. We add the task and labor that are going to be performed on it. Any special parts that I need during normal maintenance can be added. Any special tools. I can email this to somebody if it's a contractor or a supervisor in the area to let them know this maintenance is going to occur. And again, I could have attachments associated with this work order if there was something important. Once I have the work order master created, I do that once, and I've added the pieces or piece of equipment that's going to be maintained. I put a schedule on it. And in Proteus MMX, we have a lot of options to scheduling. We can do daily scheduling. Daily doesn't necessarily mean single day. It could mean every 90 days, or it could mean every 180 days, or it could mean every 30 days. And within this, I have the ability to schedule on completion by checking this box. This says the technician would have 5 days to complete this work, okay, from the date that it initiates. In the weekly, I can pick, again, not every week. I could do every 2 weeks, every 5 weeks, 26 weeks. And I can pick a specific day or days of the week. I could do this on Monday and Friday. Check both of these boxes. Or I could pick the first calendar day of the month or whatever. On monthly, I can do this again every month, or I could do it every 3 months, every 6 months, every 50 months, and I can do it on a specific day of the month, or I could do it on the first Monday of the month, as this is checked here. And again, this gives the technician 5 days to complete it before it becomes overdue. I have an annual or yearly capability, and I can do this every year, 2 years, 5 years, and I can do it on specific months. So an example would be a roof inspection. We're here in Wisconsin, so I can do it every year, and I could do it in April and October. Hopefully in April and October, I don't have snow on the roof. And if this was an annual thing doing in April and October, I might give a few more days. I might give 10 to 15 days to get that done, just to make sure that there's no snow on those days or it's not raining or whatever. But you can see there's a lot of flexibility here. So when I do it in April and October, I can also do it on the first Monday or the third Monday, or I could do it on the first Monday and the fourth Friday if I wanted to do it multiple times in the month. Runtime allows me to take data either in real time from the factory floor, from the building automation systems, from your machinery, and be able to input based on hits, based on some unit of measure, and I can, as the runtime is updated based on the incremental runtime units, say 1,000, or think of an oil change every 3,000 miles or every 90 calendar days. Okay, we can trigger an oil change. The same thing can be done for all of your production equipment. If you have the ability to record hits, or we can pick that data up in real time, we can trigger work orders based on cycles of some unit rather than calendar alone. So Proteus, again, is very flexible. One of the things that we didn't talk about in assets is the ability to look at a machine ledger. A machine ledger allows us to look at components of a machine, okay, or a production line. And each of those components in the production line, as an example, may have different maintenance schedules based on different run times, or the widget may have been replaced and is brand new versus the rest of the machinery is older. Okay, so what it allows us to do is look at when is planned maintenance occurring, when does equipment break down, when did I execute my planned maintenance, and when did I do any extra unplanned maintenance. So let's say in week 1 here on this particular component, I have planned maintenance. So I'd have a yellow box here, but I don't get to my planned maintenance. And over in week 6, I have a breakdown. Okay, so this box is red. Well, now I do my planned maintenance. It gives me a graphical and physical view of the fact that I had a breakdown because I was supposed to do maintenance in week 1, but I didn't get to it. I didn't do it, and now I had a breakdown. Okay, so I may change, instead of doing my planned maintenance in week 1 or not getting to it, and I was supposed to also do it in week 4, I may look at my schedule over time and say, well, I've run X number of weeks without a breakdown, so I can, instead of doing something every week, I might be able to do it once a month, or I might be able to do it every 3 weeks, or I can go 10 weeks with no breakdowns. So I'm going to, and it doesn't seem to affect the wear on the machine, so I'm going to change my maintenance from monthly to every 2 months, let's say. Again, a graphical view over a 52-week, rolling 52 weeks of what's happening in your specific system or pieces of equipment. And that's the machine ledger. It's a unique feature to Proteus, and it's something that clients find extremely valuable. We also, on assets, will trend the assets. So if I'm using the inspection module and I'm taking pressure readings or temperature readings or any type of counts or anything like that, as I go along over time, it's going to graph and trend that data for me. So if I'm running a amperage reading, for example, and it should be between, or milliamps or whatever, and it should be between 23 and 30 amps, and all of a sudden I'm running 22, 23, 22, 23, and all of a sudden I start trending up toward 30, I can see I have a potential failure pending. I can sort of track and see why is my amperage trending up. So the inspection module and the inspection on the assets will give you that trending data over time. Again, very unique. We track parts, can have multiple storage areas or stock rooms associated with the parts. There's no limit to the number of parts you can have, nor the number of storage areas in your facilities. And one of the advantages that we provide is we can show you the value of that inventory, okay? We also can, when we look at specific parts in the particular
storage area, we can show you the last date that that part was used, okay? Whether it was used recently or in one part stockroom or another makes no difference. We show you in this list, regardless of what stockroom or what facility. If you've got 20 or 30 facilities around the world, we can show you who used it last, which date, and we can also show you in our purchasing system which was the last date that it was ordered. So we've got some unique, again, capabilities. You can set your minimum, your maximum, your reorder points, your primary vendors. We also have the ability to track part number changes so that you can identify again, in multiple facilities, which part number replaced part number XYZ and who has it as the old part number, who has it as the new part number. Again, a real problem in large organizations trying to keep track of what parts are obsolete or what parts are new or things like that. We have purchasing, requisitions, we have escalation. You can identify the people that do work and specific labor crafts. Labor craft can identify everybody as a maintenance technician, or you can identify specific labor crafts with different labor rates. Every hour that's worked is worth whatever the labor rate is that you've put in here. We can have multiple labor rates so that there's regular time, overtime, and holiday pay if you're set up with something like that. And again, we need something in order to look at what is it costing us to maintain an asset both year to date and life to date. So these are not payroll numbers. These are some estimated number associated with your in-house technicians. We also can track work to contractors. We define contractors as people that come in and can sell parts and do work on your facility. So an example would be somebody coming in to fix forklifts on your premise, or your people coming in to do pest control work, things like that. Those are your contractors. Vendors, on the other hand, are the people who you buy things from who never come into your facility to do any work. System has a lot of key performance indicators. There's some standard ones. The root cause failure graph, for example, DM and PM hours by month. Mean time to repair and mean time between failure. We use the SMRP, Society for Maintenance and Reliability, standards for calculating those, but we do have clients that calculate them differently, and we can do custom KPIs as well. So over here we can have a breakdown due to lack of PM and show the mean time between failure on that as a custom KPI as an example. Over here, the mean time between failure and mean time to repair are custom for a specific customer. Again, some of the things that we do to help clients is to look at parts needs as an example, and we can project parts forward so that you don't identify parts based on past usage, but based on preventive maintenance forecast forward, okay? Again, standard reports within the system, and we use crystal reports, and clients can do their own crystal reporting, and do demos there. They can create their own custom reports and add them into the system. We have cost centers, and this is important to a lot of clients. These cost centers are something that help identify areas of work or customers that you do work for.
And you can set budgets on this, and as you complete and close work orders, it's going to show you both year-to-date and life-to-date in that budget. I'm sorry, it shows you the cost by month of inventory purchases. It shows you inventory transaction costs. It'll show you work assigned to work orders, and that shows against your budget. Okay, so again, cost centers are something that you can define. They can be SAP cost centers. They can be, Jim's budget center, whatever you want them to be. There's no requirement they have specific names or anything else. But again, you sign PMs or close work orders to the budget center, it will capture any miscellaneous costs, any miscellaneous material, and labor and material costs directly associated with work orders. We help standardize things with data lists in the system. So we have runtime units, for example. We have asset categories, your company information. If you work in multiple currencies in multiple countries, you can identify those things in your company data. If you have different divisions or work in different states and regions, this is your terminology. Again, when we get to work order, you track your root cause failure reasons you want to identify. We have maintenance codes that we recommend. These are the 6 ways that work comes to a maintenance department. You can identify your priorities. You can identify work statuses and work types that you want to track. Work types, when we look at KPIs, and cost centers are sort of tied together in this KPI. So you look at your different cost centers and your different work types, and you end up with a graph showing by cost center the number of hours for a period that are charged to it. So for example, if I want to look at the last 30 days from today, or if I want to look at the 1st of November through the end of November, all the work orders open and closed where there's time in on it, it will change the percentages and the different types of work on the graph. When I go back further in time and I have more data in my system and I look at all of that data, all of a sudden I've got a lot more types of work that are reflected. And as an example, I'm doing a lot of HVAC work. If I don't have an on-staff HVAC person, I may want to consider recommending bringing in an on-premise person. Again, we can drive this down by region if you have regions or specific facilities. It's designed to, we have clients with 20, 30, 40 facilities or more. Drill down by specific technicians or down to the individual person. And during that period, you can look at why didn't I have any hours or 1 hour for this person over the course of many months, okay? So we give you tools to work with through KPIs. In the help function, there's lots of information, the manuals, there's quick reference material, there's release notes, there's videos to show you quickly 2 to 3 minute segments on how to do things within Proteus. We've got a FAQ point, and then we've got a contact us, and you can submit a ticket. And these tickets are 7 by 24. We monitor them and we help you identify immediately any questions or problems that you might be experiencing, because ultimately your satisfaction is our goal. So that's a little bit about Proteus. There's a lot more we could talk about. Again, you don't have to use all these features. We can simplify it based on roles and rights. A lot of the menu items can go away. Again, feel free to reach out to sales@eaglecmms.com. We will help you and identify how Proteus can best help you fit your needs for your manufacturing operation.